And what is the purpose of it? No, you're on the right path. The answer you gave is right. Mara, why faith? Inge? Speak louder. Yes, it's for the needy. So with this type, how they would do it, again, the Bible expects us to have savings. You must save value. And then from your savings, after every 3 years, as they're storing it up, they'll just take a tenth from those savings and then bless the needy. So meaning, in their community, those who are unemployed were taken care of. So before all along, what is the church doing about the homeless? Couple a tithe of your savings and then ask us that question. Hey, what is the church doing? Or give us a tithe of your savings and then ask us that question. So it was for, because guys, how on earth can the church be the light of the world if believers are not participating in the spiritual life of the church? So the purpose of this tithe, it was so that it can bless everyone else, the less fortunate, widows, orphans. Like God is concerned about the people around us. There are orphans. There are people who are widowed. There are people who cannot sustain themselves. And we should be able to take care of them. But how are we going to do that? How will that happen? It is when believers go the extra mile and they take something off their savings. This is really going the extra mile. Now, I say every year, it happened in the third year, the year of tithing. So now, many a times, people read all these portions of scripture and they think it is one thing. And that's where they're missing it. So with this study, tithing, what are we doing? We are applying yesterday's lesson. Complete mention. Comparative mention. That's what we are doing. Like I don't decode. When you must clarify. Unless the text says the literal makes no sense, don't jump to the figurative. If literal it makes sense, take it like that. Unless the text tells you, I don't make sense literal. You don't just jump. There is a difference between exegesis and eisegesis. Two things. What is exegesis? Exegesis, it means to exegete, to thoroughly and carefully explain what it is saying. What is eisegesis? Eisegesis is reading yourself into the text. Eisegesis is taking the text and applying it to other things. There's room for eisegesis, taking one text about this and using it to help you with another area. That's okay. Now you can do that in your devotion, and stuff like that. But be careful about it, lest you distort. I'm still on school mode. I'm still there, so I must change gears. So that was the third tithe. It happened in the year of tithing, in the third year. So we looked at second tithe, we looked at third tithe. Who can tell me what is tithe of tithe? Let's all have a tithe of tithe. Milky?
It's on. By use of the if it is taken from it is a tithe of the sacred tithe.
And then who pays the tithe?
It is the Levite.
Yes. So the Levites paid this tithe. Remember, the Levites received all the tithe. And then the Levites had to take a tithe of the tithe and reserve it for the priesthood. Aaron and his sons. The principle we learn here is that even the fivefold, even those who are full-time in whatever you want to put it like, should also be tithing. This is saying nobody is exempt from giving. Nobody is exempt from it. And then, what is the other one? Sacred tithe. The sacred tithe. The Lord's tithe. So we are seeing there are 4 types. The sacred tithe, which is the first tithe. And then from this one, there was a tithe. This one went to the tribe of Levi. And from this one, there was a tithe of tithe, which went here to the priesthood. And then there is a second tithe, Margawi 3. This second tithe is a festival tithe. It's a budgeting system. It does happen 3 times a year: Feast of Passover, Pentecost, and Tabernacles. This one, you get to eat it. You enjoy it. It's for you and your family. You are investing in your spiritual nourishment. As you do that, do not neglect the Levite in your house or the Levite in your neighborhood. So what is this saying? I'll come back to that one. It can give us somewhere. And then every 4, we have the tithe, the third tithe. And then this tithe is meant to take care of the less fortunate, the needy among us. The welfare, the social development and welfare. This tithe. And it takes care of the nation, of the less fortunate and stuff like that. I get it. Now, we are going to look at the 5th tithe. We are going to look at the 5th tithe. 1 Samuel chapter number 8. But with this thing, I am very careful not to preach to you. I want you to go with me through the study. Now, I want you to go with me through the study. First Samuel chapter 8, from verse 10. We're going to go down, Leona, from verse 10. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. Now, I am going to take maybe 3 or 4 questions. 3 or 4 questions. If this is a thing. I'm going to take 3 or 4 questions. If this is a thing. Who has a question? If there is a question we still have not answered. Don't take us back to last week. Okay, Tawale. Who else has a question? This is a rare opportunity. Okay, sharp. What's your question, Aruk?
But switch it on. Okay, it's on. Thank you, Bafunzi. It's not a question, but I would like to see tithe being taken through the due diligence of any other practice we are practicing today from the early church. Those 3 qualification criteria that we took yesterday: commandment, practice, and explanation. I would like to see it through that lens. And if it does not go through that lens, why not? Why practice it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Powerful. Kopela bote agane. First Samuel. First Samuel chapter number 8. Some of you might be confused by his question. I like Askolum, man. Yeah, I like Askolum. Samahala. I like.
Yeah.
So in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every matter must be established.
Yes.
I get it, yeah. So this means we're going to look at where it is mentioned or commanded or where it appears. I guess sometimes it appears, sometimes it's commanded, sometimes it is mentioned. And then we go to the early church. When you go there, we look at where did they practice it. And then from there, we go to where is it expounded on. First Samuel, chapter 8. First Samuel chapter number 8. And then this thing, it's not like a rule. Baba. It's a guideline we're providing. You are safe like this. Ne? Yeah, so what I was doing, I took the Bible in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every matter must be established. So now we're looking at now practical theology. So now, how do I apply some of these things, especially those serious things? Babo? And then, in my own bias, you know what? Jesus must have commanded it, or done it, or mentioned it. The early church, which were interpreters of what Jesus was saying, must have done it. Number 3, somewhere in the epistles, it must be explained or mentioned. This thing was in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. So now this question, in Kisa to next week. Remember what I said, ne? We're going to Old Testament.
Yes.
We're going to jump to New Testament. Mara, I'll do faka a bit. First Samuel chapter number 8. From verse 10. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. So they're asking for a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen. And some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, and captains over 50s. And he will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. So since you want the king, just know the king is going to take your sons, and going to take your daughters, and they're going to serve him. And you want the king, this is how a kingdom works. So now, they are turning their backs on theocracy. Mudumari live from monarchy. And monarchy has got a cost. Jesus understands the government must function. That's why we give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So not asking for a king, okay, the king must get tribute. Since you want a king. That's why the same Jesus, when they are testing him, whose faith is on this coin? But receive, okay, then give to Caesar what belongs to him. Verse 13. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. I kind of like a coach, like a king. That's what he does. Kings were kings because they owned land. Kings were kings because they owned land. That's why they're called lords. A lord is someone who owns the land. Kings owned land. No land, no kingship. That's why God is the Lord of all the earth. That's why we have what you call real estate, property. That is Spanish, real estate, royal estate. Meaning the estate belongs to the crown. So it's like a vestige from the times of nobilities. Number two, the person you are renting from, you call him a land lord, because he's lord over the land. Leave them. Verse 15. And he will take the 10th of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants. And he will make your men servants. He will take the 10th of your seeds of your vineyards and give it to his officers and to his servants. And he will take your men servants and maid servants and your goodliest young men and your donkeys and put them to his work. He will take the 10th of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And he shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen, you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. So now this is now the 5th tithe the people of Israel had to pay. So now all the temple stuff did not stop. But now since you want the monarchy, you must finance it. 2 Kings 23. Mother should be home, yeah? Sleeping. 2 Kings, chapter 23. Second Kings 23, verse 35. 2 Kings 23, 35. And Jehoiakim gave the silver and gold to Pharaoh. So I want you to know that this government tithe was a self-imposed tithe. It was self-imposed. Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land to give the money according to the commandment of Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and the gold of the people in the land, of everyone according to his taxation, to give it unto Pharaoh Necho. So when Pharaoh took them into captivity, Okay, now one tax of everything. Because every king must fund his kingdom. Every king must fund his kingdom. Now they were going into captivity. And the king in captivity, I want what's mine. Years later, there's another empire reigning over them. Caesar. And I want that money. Because that's how governments work. So you neglected theocracy, welcome to monarchy. Pay up. Pay up. To give it to Pharaoh Necho. Now let's jump to Nehemiah. Let's jump to Nehemiah. Nehemiah 11. Nehemiah 11. Verses 1 and 2. So this is now when Judah comes back from Babylonian captivity. And they are now restoring the house of the Lord. And then they're starting to give tithe of all their produce. We read this again. Come on, verse 35, chapter 10, we read to it. They are not giving tithes of everything. The priests are being taken care of. The walls are being rebuilt. The temple is being built. All those things are happening. Get the scenario. Verse 1. And the rulers of the people that dwelt at Jerusalem, the rest of the people also, cast lots to bring 1 of 10 to dwell in Jerusalem, the holy city, and 9 parts to dwell in their cities. And the people blessed all the men that willingly offered themselves to dwell in Jerusalem. Remember, Jerusalem was in ruins. They are going back to restore it. But if you restore it but there's no one there, you understand, like, it's gonna decay very soon. It's gonna be taken over and stuff like that. So the people, therefore, but no, there must be people who are there. We will take a tithe of us. A tithe of the people, and we will stay in Jerusalem. Now this is a hard thing, therefore we're going to cast lots. And if the lot falls upon you, you're going to stay in Jerusalem and inhabit Jerusalem. And the people gave a tithe of the people, a tithe of themselves, and they went and they dwelt there. What have we just looked at? We looked at all the 6 types of tithe that Israel gave. Tithe of the people, government tithe, 3rd tithe, 2nd tithe, tithe of tithes, and the sacred tithe. These are not all the same thing. All these are different things. Now let us go. So last week I spoke briefly about how now we know, especially with the second tithe, festival tithe, people would come from far to where the name of the Lord is mentioned, the house of the Lord, the temple. And they would come for the times of the festivals and stuff like that. When they got there, there were money changers. People who are taking advantage, who are robbing people, and then Jesus saw all of them and he got angry. And we have turned this into a den of thieves. My house will be called a house of prayer. Because at this time of festivals and stuff like that, they were supposed to come and offer up spiritual sacrifice to God, praying to God and doing all those things. But they changed they turned the temple into a marketplace. They turned the entire thing into a marketplace. And Jesus was very angry. He started flipping tables. That's where we get the money changers from. Ne? Now I want us to view something. 2 Kings. Second Kings. So I still want to rubber stamp that issue of money. Because they were handling money in the Old Testament. I just want to rubber stamp that thought. Before 2 Kings, let's go to Exodus. So in Exodus, this is where everyone had to give a shekel of silver. Everyone, rich or poor, they all had to give a shekel of silver. This was for the redemption of the soul. Now, when you find this in Exodus 30, now we won't open it, from verse 11, Exodus 30. Everyone had to give a shekel of silver. Whether rich or poor, all of them, 20 and above, had to give a shekel of silver. And this was the price for the redemption of the soul. Everyone had to give this offering. And when we see that, silver, which speaks of redemption. And this was atonement money. They all had to make atonement for themselves. And they paid a shekel of silver. It was atonement. It's called the atonement money. Everyone had to give that amount. And it went to the priests. What do we see in all of this? It's a principle that all of us need to pay the redemption price. All of us need to be covered by the blood. All of us need to be born again. All of us need to be redeemed with silver. So this is telling us that all men must be saved. If you are not saved, kimatata. You understand? Everyone must enter Noah's ark. If you don't enter through that door, it's over. If you enter the door, it's over. That was the message behind that thing. Now, 2 Kings, chapter 12 from verse 9. Here we're going to see that there was a money chest, like a chest, a treasure chest full of money in the house of the Lord. And people who just throw in money. 2 Kings chapter 12, verse 9 to 15. This is in the reign of Jehoash. In the reign of Jehoash. And this is money which is given for the upkeep of the temple. But Jehoiada, the priest, took a chest and bored a hole in the lid of it. Okay, again, in the lid of it, and set it beside the altar, one on the right side, as one cometh into the house of the Lord. And the priests that kept the door put therein all the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. So there is a treasure chest, and people are bringing money. Now I want us to notice something here. And it was so, verse 10, when they saw that there was much money in the chest, that the king's scribe and the high priest came up, and they put it in bags and told the money that was found in the house of the Lord. Verse 11, and they gave the money, being told, into the hands of them that did the work, that had oversight of the house of the Lord. And they laid it out to the carpenters and builders that wrought upon the house of the Lord. So now they are maintaining the temple. because it has to be maintained. And to masons and hewers of stones, to buy timber and hew stone to repair the breaches of the house of the Lord, and for all that was laid out for the house to repair it. Howbeit, we're going to go to verse 15. Howbeit, they were not made for the house of the Lord bowls of silver, snuffers, basons, trumpets, vessels of silver, of the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. But they gave that to the workmen that repaired the house of the Lord therewith. My main point, take verse 15. Moreover, they reckoned not with the men into whose hand they delivered the money to be bestowed on the workmen, for they dealt faithfully. Here they are saying that nobody checked if the priests are not stealing the money. Therefore, they were so faithful, nobody even counted. Nobody, they were faithful. Are they paying the workers enough? Nobody even checked that. Nobody even checked that. What a powerful principle. Ninja. So, two things we can draw from this. The faithfulness of the priests. That's how faithful they were. It encouraged trust in the congregation. So, what is an important principle? That be faithful over the finances and you'll have the confidence of the people. This is an important principle. That be faithful over the money. Be faithful. And the confidence of the people will be won. Nobody ever wants to talk about this part. The people didn't come back. They're just doing the money in there. Even the king, Maria, okay, how much is it? Yeah, go and do the stuff here. Go and do the stuff. Nobody is checking. Check some up on about that. But here's the thing. They were faithful. Faithfulness is important. When Moses was building the tabernacle, when the offerings were brought, but now it's too much, they told the people, enough, we don't have to give any more. Okay, it's fine, we have enough. We have enough, don't bring more. Not today, Bob. Not today. Let's take as much as you can get. Not today. Today, you won't see that. But no, it's enough. It's enough. Like, it's even overflowing. Enough. Stop it, guys. Stop with the offerings. May the Lord bring us to that day. Oh, guys, enough. Enough, guys. Enough. Yeah. Look at who threaten already cares. Second Kings. In fact, get the next verse. Verse 16. I guess some of the money was used to build, ne? Verse 16. Look at the following verse. Okay, the previous verse, ne? Go back to the previous. 15. They reckon not with the men into whose hand they delivered the money to be bestowed on the workmen, for they dealt faithfully. 16. The trespass money and sin money was not brought into the house of the Lord. It was the priests. But there was money which was the priests. Ne? So, this one is yours. This one is for building. But nobody's counting because they are faithful. They must take a portion for themselves. But nobody counted because they are faithful. This one is for the leaders and the pastors now. they were faithful. Nothing was counted. Okay, did they take more for themselves or what? No one counted. This one is the priests. Did they mix? Yeah, no. Nobody counted. No one counted. However, whenever God was robbed of his money, Modimo o bolela. Go Malachi, now they're eating the money. And God speaks, sorry, will a man rob God? Because now they're eating it. When they're eating it, God speaks. Second Kings, just another. That was in the time of Jehoash. Now we're looking into the time of Josiah. Chapter 22. Go chapter 12, it was in the days of Jehoash. Go chapter 22, it's in the days of Josiah. 2 Kings 22, from verse 5. From verse 5. And let them deliver it into the hand of the doers of the work, that have the oversight of the house of the Lord. And let them give it to the doers of the work, which is in the house of the Lord, to repair the breaches of the house. So, Gary, once in a while there was maintenance which was done on the temple. Notice, it is not the tithes they're using to maintain the house. Kira Old Testament. Kira Old Testament. Verse 6. And to carpenters and builders and masons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house. Howbeit, there was no reckoning made with them of the money that was delivered into their hand, because they dealt faithfully. In the days of Jehoash, there was faithfulness. In the days of Josiah, there was faithfulness. So for your own enrichment, when you get home, if I like an NIV, if I like an NLT, if I like in various translations, it will help you assimilate it. That's your homework. So this is a temple tax for the upkeep of the temple that they had to pay. Now let us jump. Was it only one question? No, which you have not answered already. Is there another question which you have not yet already answered? Question. I'm not saying preach because I listen alone. But go for revelation high. Question. Question. I see prelude ke question. I'm showing. I just need question. Not prelude. Not this is my opinion. Question. And we will answer the question.
Okay, my question is on the practice in the nowadays, the New Testament.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned when you quoted to Abraham that when he was giving tithe, he gave from his possessions, not necessarily from the income.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know that, is that still applicable in the New Testament in terms of, because the Bible doesn't necessarily say we give from salary, but
Yeah.
income. So is it income and possession, or there is a limit there?
Okay. So basically you want to know what do you tithe? Money or possessions? Okay. What do you mean by limit?
If is it just only on income, or just only on possession, or anyone is free to give from both?
Oh, okay. Okay. If you will have verse more. Let me just open this verse. Where is that verse? Sure, the silence. Where's my, oh. So what you're looking at is tithe. So now, first of all, we're going to look at, and then you will understand why my position is this one. So let's open our Bibles, go to the book of Matthew 23. Matthew 23, Luke 11. So I just want us to read these verses. So highlight Matthew 23, Luke 11:42, and Micah 6:8. And Micah 6:8. So here is the principle. When you read a verse, listen for what is being said. Listen for what is being said. And be careful not to go for what is not being said. Yeah. Don't make me say what I'm not saying, basically. If I'm saying this, yeah, this is what I'm saying. Don't put a negative part or. I hope it makes sense. Micah 6:8, Luke 11:42, Matthew 23:23. I hope I put the right verses. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye have done, and not to leave the other undone. So just worrying. You guys are so hypocrites. You pay so much attention to your tithing that is so meticulous. Even mint, anise, and cumin. You're so specific about how you are tithing to the letter. But the weightier things of the law, you are neglecting them, like justice, mercy, and faith. These, the tithing, mint, cumin, and anise, you should have done. not to leave the other undone, justice, mercy, and faith. So just as confirming tithing, okay, I should have tithed, but not to neglect justice, mercy, and faith. These you ought to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Jesus is not rebuking their tithe. Jesus is rebuking the hypocrisy. Who is upholding one part of the law, they are neglecting another. And this you ought to have done. Matthew 23. 23. Luke 11. 42. Like mint came in, there are so small things, they are so meticulous in how they tithe. But the weightier matters of the law, they ignore them. Justice, mercy, and faith. So Jesus here had an opportunity, if tithing is wrong, to bash it. Here's his opportunity. He's speaking about it, I bash. Then comes Sabbath, opportunity to speak about it. Why bash? We're on the same page, ne? Luke 11. I can't hear Luke. But woe unto you, Pharisees, for you tithe mint, rue, and all manner of herbs, and pass over judgment and the love of God. These ought ye have to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Can you tell maybe guy NIV? Maybe the megabyte. King James. Let's go to NIV. Let's try NIV. Let's try NIV or something. Woe unto you, Pharisees, because you give God a tenth of your mint, rue, and all other kinds of garden herbs, but you neglect justice and the love of God. You should have practiced the latter without leaving the former undone. You should have tithed without leaving out justice, mercy, and love. Jesus basically saying, La tithe marapela sa ona dimpe. That's what Jesus is saying. Now here is an opportunity for Jesus to say, this is over. It's an opportunity for him to say that.
Yeah.
Does he bash it?
No.
Does he disannul it?
No.
He doesn't. And you should have done it well. But why are you omitting justice, love, and mercy? Why are you omitting the love of God? Let's open Matthew 23. Net 23. NIV Leon. Matthew 23 ne ka NIV.
23.
You found it?
Yes.
Woe unto you, teachers of the law and Pharisees,